Steve, when you wrote that, what was the general reception of the publishing marketplace? Because I know when I wrote my first book, called Business as Mission, ironically, it was hard to get it published. I mean, I felt like, a little orphan on the street, please, sir, would somebody just publish my book? And it took years to find somebody that would publish it. Um, but what was it like? Because you were ahead of me. You
Yeah.
wrote before I did.
Yeah, yeah, and that was an issue, definitely. Uh, in chapter 2 of the book, we unpack this label, Great Commission companies, and we put a definition in bullet points about 6 different criteria, and it needs to be for profit, unapologetically a real business, run by kingdom professionals, and working cross culturally. This was my co-author's influence. He's a missiologist, Tom
Mm.
Steffen. I should make a shout out to Tom, and he kept me, true to the missiology jargon and so on there. But uh, we were sensitive to that question. There's hundreds of books about Christian businessmen and women out there, mostly men, but why another book about Christian business? And so we wanted to have a very clear answer, and it's like there's no book that talks about what these businesses are doing. This is very different, and it's a story of globalization. The original title had globalization in it, but they took it out. They thought it was too academic sounding, but it's, globalization, forcing businesses of all kind to go global. And a lot of these businesses being run by Christians who are having an impact that missionaries would just, cut off their left arm to have to
Absolutely.
access. Yeah. So, InterVarsity Press, a very missions-oriented publisher, they bought into it, and they published both editions.
I wonder back then, Steve. I mean, I think we all felt like we were a part of something God was doing. I don't know that we would have called it a movement at that time, but we were seeing, to your point, we were seeing businesses, real businesses. That's always the first thing. It's real
Mm.
business, real profit, real product, real service, and real missional focus and impact. And packaging that all together, there weren't very many in those days. When you wrote that first edition, you and Tom, it was, I mean, I don't know how many of these there were worldwide. It's never been public. We don't know.
Right.
You didn't put a fish on your business card, or you didn't put a kingdom company in your subtitle, so it was very hard to figure out who these were. But what has happened since then has really been, I venture to say, it teeters on world changing. And it's not the first. So I know you're an economist by training, and obviously a business professor by vocation, and an author, and all those things. But looking at the history of it, this is not the first time in church history that business people have taken a forward position in reaching the world, right? I mean, there have been other periods of time, the Moravians, for example, and others. I mean, did those impact you? Those different sort of our forefathers, did they impact you when you were coming into this, or were you like me coming into it fresh and then later found out, wow, I'm not the only one?
Yeah. I think more the latter. Uh, and in fact, eventually, when I started teaching a course called Business as Mission, I required some reading on the Moravians and so on. I think it's important, it's good at least for people to know that this isn't the first time and that others have done this before, and they've had some unique challenges in their own, context, and not all of ours, in this day and age work out perfectly either. It's just,
Hmm.
and part of it is the nature of business, it's, so, but yeah, I found out in time that about the Moravians and other examples. Um, yeah, in terms of the movement, if you want to call it that, uh, oh shucks, what's his name? God at Work. God at Work.
Uh,
What's his? Dave Miller. Dave Miller from Princeton. He did a study of looking back over a couple hundred years of church history, and he has seen this ebb and flow, this where it starts to really generate a lot of interest among lay people and business people in particular, and then it fizzles out. It never quite gets, you know, gets the buy-in from the church leadership.
Hmm.
Is what that's his thesis, is that and I should mention that's only one chapter of his book. Uh, he, it wasn't the full purpose of his book, but
I think it's.
I
I
really
think
like it.
his point is accurate. I mean, I've talked a little bit about this. And I'm working on a with a team, one in Australia, one up in Massachusetts, and me, trying to dig into the why is it that the organized church as we know it is not engaged as I think they need to be. Speaking bluntly, I don't think they come out necessarily against it. Some do, but generally it's just kind of, yeah, that's great for you guys. We're happy for you. But there's not this dynamic engagement taking place where pastors and business people and they're all working together. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Do you see that changing in the near future, or do you think it's going to be another ebb and flow situation that we'll get close almost to the brass ring of this, I always think of it as the whole body unleashed,
Hmm.
where you can blow up the 80/20 rule and say it's no longer 20% doing 80% of the work, it's 100% of the body, or at least a vast majority of the body, directly engaged in discipling the nations, and we get a hope, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Do we?
I
Am I pipe dreaming, brother?
I sure hope it's different this time. I mean, just look at faith-driven entrepreneur and faith-driven investor, and the Lion's Den, the things that they're doing down in Texas and Birmingham, and these are really, I mean, these aren't just academic conferences where you sit there for 3 days and you have, lunch with people that's become your friends. These are really world changing, I think, organizations. Yeah, and they're taking it to a new level, I believe.